Karceno. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. Make sure you check him out on Karceno for Life on YouTube. Check out his website. Him and Sean do a great job, BoxingSocialist.com. Check them out, Boxing Socialist on YouTube, and Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. Karceno, man, rarely does a second fight live up to the first fight. And the way the first 2 rounds went, then the third and the fourth, it was just going back and forth, and both looked affected at times and staggered at times. What a great fight. What a great fight for the second fight. And not just that, but for Alvarado to be coming off a knockout, like I mentioned earlier, and then to be coming off that second round where he didn't look good until the very end. He looked like he may have cleared his head a bit, but he didn't look good in that round. Coming off that power jab and another overhand right that shook him. What a way for Alvarado to come back, though, in that hole, that little hole that he dug to come out. What'd you think of Alvarado and Rios, the fight itself, and for Alvarado to come out and stick to his subtle game plan, a game plan that we talked about, subtly changing, doing some things different, not standing there and brawling, still threw a lot of punches. So, what are your thoughts overall, Karceno?
Wow, what a night. It was amazing. I'm more than pleased, and I'm just impressed. And it's clear that Mike Alvarado definitely listens to Ropeadoperadio on Wednesday nights, because last week he followed my game plan to the letter. And that's not a bad thing. That was a compliment to him to go in there and do what he did, but he should have paid me instead of his trainer. But no, I still had this fight either a Rios favor or a draw, and I think sometimes we get caught up in the emotion of the event that we just score the fight to the event. I went back and watched the fight again, and I gave 7 rounds to Rios. I could not give 7 rounds to Alvarado, even though some of the rounds were kind of close. It was like he flurried at the end and tried to steal it. But a lot of those rounds, I think Rios won, and it got overshadowed by the event of how Alvarado came back. He had the crowd in his favor. He had the most energy going for him, and it worked. You listened exactly word for word to exactly what we talked about last week. And I think we all said the same thing, me, you, and Hollywood. And it was clear. He used movement, and when he got inside, he tied him up. And what went unnoticed was the body punches that he landed on Rios. It definitely had an effect, because Rios slowed down and wasn't cutting the ring off as much in the middle round. He kind of let Alvarado do what he wanted to do and set the pace. Once you let Alvarado roam around the ring with him in the beginning, he was able to cut him off and make Alvarado fight when he didn't want him to, when he didn't want to. But later on in the round, because of the body punches, he had to take his time with then cutting off the ring with Alvarado. And Rios makes mistakes. And that's what we talked about last week. Let Rios make the mistakes, and then you capitalize off of them. Do what you have to do, move around as much as you can. Rios eventually will come to you and let him make the mistake, and he did. He eventually would come in with a lazy jab instead of in the beginning when he just worked off of the jab and came in with power shots. He got really comfortable with just coming in with full power on Alvarado. So he decided to come in with a lazy jab to try to, which he uses as a rangefinder to just throw his right hand. He's not looking for a return shot, a short right hand from Alvarado, which he was timing Rios for every time. He was setting him up for that right hand every time he came in close for a short right, and that's how he ended up buckling him in the third round. He came in with a lazy left jab to try to shoot his short right hand. That's all. Rios never saw the right hand coming. It's a consistent problem with him. He's so in tune with his power that he neglects what Robert Garcia is telling him for, like, don't get careless, because he gets careless in the ring. Because when a fighter with power, sometimes they just neglect certain defensive techniques that they've been taught already. Because Robert Garcia was very upset with him about it. It's like, this is happening because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're getting reckless, and you need to just be wary of what's going on. And when he went back to boxing later on in the round, in the championship round, it was effective for him. Go back to the jab. He was able to hurt Alvarado again just off his jab because he put so much weight. He shifts his weight on the jabs, and he's very impressive with it. But overall, the fans won. We all got a great fight, which could have went either way. It could have went either way. Some people scored it for Alvarado. I scored it a draw originally. Then I went back and said, well, I would get 7 rounds to Rios, but I couldn't give 7 rounds to Alvarado. But it was, overall, it's a great night. Nobody was disappointed. So boxing won. With all the fans, we won that night.
There's no doubt about that. That's very well said. We definitely did, and it'll be interesting to see. We're probably going to hear all the things that we always hear from a guy that gets reckless. I'm going to move my head more. I've been working on some things. I got a little too cocky. This, that, and the other. And we'll see. I mean, to me, I saw just the opposite. I watched it again, and I think I've seen it 3 times now, and it was tight. Not the type to be like, oh no, there was one of my cards that I did 6-5-1, but overall it looked like 7-4-1 to me, and I thought that if you saw a draw in there, I wouldn't be shocked. You know what I mean? I definitely wouldn't, but I don't think I could give it to Rios if I had to. The scorecard's 115, 113, 115, 113, and then 114, 113. So at least the scorecards saw it was a tight fight, and I know what you mean. I do have to admit that seeing Alvarado hurt like that and then coming back and stunning Rios and winning a lot of rounds all of a sudden, taking over the fight. People did get lost in that, and the crowd itself got lost in it. They were booing Alvarado and going for Rios, and they switched. So I could see, how you had it a really tight fight. I didn't see it as a 9-3 fight. Some people thought it was just 8-4, no ifs, ands, or buts. Some people do, like I mentioned, freak out about tied rounds. Go back if you look at the history. Tied rounds used to be a lot. They used to score them 2-3 in a fight. Of course, they had 15 rounds, so maybe that was the thing. But overall, I thought it was a great fight. And Karceno, one more thing on this topic. What do you think they should do? Do you think they should both take intern fights and then come back in the fall and winter and get it on again? Do you think they should maybe go right for it? What are your thoughts? Because it does sound like they're going to at least take, both of them, each other some time off probably, but then also, get right into some other fight and then get back. What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously, it's going to be a fun fight to watch, but would you prefer it as a fan to watch it maybe later this year or early next year? Or are you one of those people that say, hey, let's get it on, man? I mean, these guys can't make a bad fight.
Yeah, I'm one of the guys who thought that this fight shouldn't have happened right away. I thought that with that kind of a grueling fight, that this damages the fighter. You could damage both guys like this. We saw this happen with Israel Vasquez and Rafael Marquez. Those guys gave so much. They did 4 fights. The 4th fight was just like a whitewash because they had nothing else left to give. Vasquez just had to retire. There's nothing more he could give. And in a fight like this, these guys are young. You don't want to see them destroy their careers battling each other, because you see every time you put them in a ring, you're going to get this kind of result. You can see this fight's going to go on forever and ever, but these are grueling fights. Neither guy can come out for the press conference, the post-fight. They both were in the hospital, So, yeah, they do need other fights. There's other fights out there, and then they could do it later down the road. There's no need to have these guys keep killing themselves, fighting each other, when there's other fights out there for them to fight. But like right now, like Aaron's in it's a big mess going on. Like he was trying and he offered Rios to Pacquiao. Pacquiao doesn't want Rios. Rios don't care who he fights. Pacquiao don't want him. He wants either Bradley or Marquez. Marquez doesn't want Pacquiao. He wants Bradley. Bradley wants Pacquiao, but if he can't get that, he'll take Marquez. And now it's just a big mess where everybody wants to fight somebody else. Pacquiao don't want anything. He wants Marquez or Bradley, nothing to do with Rios. You know, it's just a big circus of Can Bob straighten it all out. But let's see what happens down the road.